John D. Wells, and I'm here at the Red Pill Expo with with the whole crew. And lo and behold, we ran into George Webb, and I thought, I wonder if he'll talk to us. We've enjoyed talking to him both on Arc Midnight and on Caravan at Midnight, and he said, yeah, sure, certainly. And what I wanted to talk to him about is, by the way, howdy.
Nice to see you in person, John.
Yeah, seriously, yeah, it's really good. That tech will only take you so far. It's really nice to see the man in person.
Yeah.
You know, here's the thing. I wanted to talk to you about just some of the controversy that's swirling around you and what's going on, because people will take little pieces of things and then run with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure you know all about this.
Yes.
And so I've said that I don't care what your position is. I know a lot of things that I will not discuss on the program because it's not prudent. It is not responsible. A lot of times, I've actually been tipped off of things that are in progress and been told, listen, if you say anything about this, it's liable to cause a problem later, as in any kind of an event that somebody may be planning that's not the nice kind of event. Right. So just because I hear about it doesn't mean I'm going to go blab it out just in this quest to be first. We're first with everything. Yeah, it's just stupid, and people do that. But I did want to ask you about something because I found you to be very credible, very intelligent, and very on it. And I also said that if we discuss anything that doesn't need to get out there in furtherance of genuine security, not political security, I simply won't run it. I just won't.
Right.
But there are some people making allegations that I'm pretty sure you're not comfortable with either. Mm-hmm. The first thing is he's Mossad.
Yeah.
Would you address the Mossad thing? And look, folks, I told George, I don't care if you're Mossad. I don't care if you're CIA. I left out the bleeping. I don't care. There are very good people inside the security services. They're not all, trying to destroy humanity. It's not like Operation Endgame. I don't know if you ever saw that ridiculous movie.
No.
Well, you got Alpha Team, you got Omega. What does Alpha do? They try to bring about the end of the world. Well, we're Omega. What do? Well, we try to stop it. So nothing happens. They cancel each other out. And this guy calls himself Chariot, says, nothing. Sweet nothing. The black heart of our democracy. I mean, it's a stupid, campy movie, but there's so much truth in it, it defies belief.
I would be Team Omega in that analogy.
Good, thanks. Me too, okay? Can I join Team Omega? So what's the deal with Mossad?
So I've never worked for an intelligence agency before. I've never received any money from any intelligence agency. I might have helped in a WikiLeaks type relay network on the thumb drive in New York when I was in New York about 15 years ago. I may have done some anti-trafficking things in the early 90s in Czechoslovakia and Eastern Europe, but I've never accepted a dime from any intelligence agency. Now, I do have contacts in the intelligence community. I have contacts from Mossad in Europe mainly. I have contacts in the CIA, FBI, and ex-NYPD, both ex and current. Now, those are my sources.
Okay, now somebody's going to pick up on this.
Okay.
I've never worked for an intelligence security service before, but you're not working for them now either.
No, I'm not working. I've never have and not currently.
He said before. That means he's working for them now. I just wanted to take that off the table. Okay. All right. The reason this started is because on a couple of interviews you've mentioned that you're Jewish before.
Yes.
And people are going, why does he make a point of mentioning he's Jewish? When I go on an interview, I don't say I'm Methodist or Baptist or anything. Is he trying to give us a secret message? What's going on?
Well, I do. I started my life as a Unitarian. We ended up kind of with an interpretation of Unitarianism. There was a lot of Jews that came to our church and a lot of Baptists that came to the Unitarian church. Yeah. The reason why I identify with Judaism is I met Gary Rosenberg, was the gentleman's name, and he talked to me about, kind of a Messianic Christianity or Messianic Judaism, whatever you want to call it. But if you look at Messianic Christianity, it's very much, blow the shofar and all the holidays and so forth, focusing on the Old Testament. So the reason I mention that is I do want to create an affinity between me and my Jewish counterparts, both in Israel and all around the world, because it's a valuable. It is who I am. Being honest, if I didn't say it, people would say you're hiding the fact that you have contacts with Mossad.
So now this stuff, so we don't know what form the fuel is in, or the material is in. We can't even call it fuel yet. And so if you want to get rid of nuclear fuel and you burn it up or use it up in a MOX reactor, it's more radioactive when it's been used, when the rods, let's say they're rods, they're more radioactive when they're spent.
Right. So you can hold fresh uranium fuel in your hand, no problem. Very low uranium radiation. But once it's spent, it's hot. And for instance, you can throw it in water, underneath the water, and it makes this purple haze or purple glow, from Jimi Hendrix. And that's how hot it is. 30 feet below water, it's hot as a firecracker. So that's the challenge here is that it's leaving these reactors. What I'm saying is it's leaving Iranian reactors, and it's leaving Iraqi reactors and Pakistani reactors as spent fuel through a UAE corporation called Gulf Tainer. Now, Gulf Tainer was a secret contract negotiated for the ports of America by our Treasury Secretary, Jack Williams. And he negotiated that with two guys. One was the chief scientist of Iraq's nuclear program, the other one was the chief scientist of Iran's nuclear program. So that is a contract. You can Google Gulf Tainer. All I'm saying is you combine a spy ring in Congress with people that are stealing from Congress and then selling back dope equipment that have fled the country, that didn't have, that have diplomatic passports. We think it is possible that they could take that spent fuel under diplomatic loophole and ship that back to the United States for reprocessing at a MOX plant in Savannah River.
Send it back.
Reprocess it, now it's fuel again, and then send it back. So there's been a lot of things that happened with Hillary Clinton, with a company called Global Osprey, which was General Grange and Sid Blumenthal deciding to overthrow Gaddafi, deciding to overthrow Assad on their own. I just want to make sure this isn't another zero footprint timber sycamore project that she's come up with.
How do you get on the list to be able to send in a diplomatically protected container? I mean, does that apply to everybody?
No, it doesn't. You get first a diplomatic passport, and that's usually done through the State Department approves that. Usually the Secretary of State, I believe, is going to approve that. And then you also have to have the diplomatic status. You need what they call A1 status. So you need to be a diplomat, not just somebody traveling in an entourage.
Right.
So we don't know. I'm trying right now FOIA the documents to find out the tag information on the containers. Who is that diplomat that is sending these 4 containers? Now, if you're moving, I could see every once in a while you would have one container, maybe with a car that you really love, and some furniture and so forth. But every day coming into Charleston, we have to look at the frequency of these containers and look at the size of the amount coming in.
Okay, so if somebody tipped off that a container may have this material content, I don't want to know who did it, I don't know where they're going, where they're working, I'm not compromised what they're doing, it's not a good thing that they are doing. So is that what happened? Somebody just blew the whistle and said, we think
yes,
it's possible?
It had happened 30 minutes before. I was in West Virginia. It happened 30 minutes before. And he said, there is a clear and present danger right now with Memphis. Now, it came from 5 covert people. We don't know which of the 5, but they said there's a clear and present danger. Now, somebody went on an internet tool, Fleetmon. You could find out exactly where a ship is. And they looked up Maersk Memphis, and they saw, hey, it's 8 minutes out of Charleston Harbor. I didn't call the Coast Guard and say, hey, there's a dirty bomb coming into Charleston Harbor.
That's the way it was portrayed.
That's the way it was portrayed.
Yeah.
But what happened is, as it got closer, and we found out the tugboats were pushing it up, and there was a little bit of maybe hysteria, and not hysteria, but it was working into an excitement. There was a little angst because people were realizing this could be a situation where, with one cigarette pack of C4, we could have a huge dirty bomb. I mean, this is the Obama administration, so this is the most likely event. So that's kind of how it got to the person calling the Coast Guard, and then another viewer called the Coast Guard.
There's nothing more important than family, and your brother's name came up, and I felt a little twinge of just a little bit of angst, as long as you're talking about angst. It's like, I don't want to pull in the exposure, and in furtherance of getting the answer to the question, I don't want to compromise good people or truly good work. How did his name even come up?
Well, he has a YouTube channel as well,
Yep.
and so he's more of a funny channel. He kind of satirizes the news. So I think he was encouraged to initially satirize my channel, But then, for some reason, it just seemed to have this impetus of its own to try to, come up with every piece of dirty laundry about me that you could. And I think he ran with it as a satire, and I saw some of them. I thought they were funny. But I hold no, I love my brother very much. He was always a smart one. I was always the dumb jock. So that's how I know.
You have a very tall forehead, which denotes a very large brain. So
okay.
I'm not thinking you're a dumb jock, but anyway. So is he pulling any exposure at all in all of this?
I think I mentioned he had the intelligence background. I think he had. I personally believe that when he was a CEO of a bank in Luxembourg, and everybody knows the reputation of Luxembourg.
He was a CEO of a bank in Luxembourg.
A credit card company, yeah.
Wow.
And
give me his phone.
yeah. Well, the thing about it is that there was all these. It was a correspondent bank with all these other banks in Europe, and I had said to him, Dave, I think they're laundering money through the credit card thing. I mean, these NATO generals. But, he was married to this gal who was in the intelligence business, Army intelligence, and she said no. I thought, no, she's a part of this, but I don't have any proof. It's kind of a brother to another brother say, Dave, they're using you here, and maybe that's just totally random. On my part, it just didn't look good when somebody gets set up to be a CEO in a tax shelter haven country.
Hey, this is nice.
Champagne every night, chauffeur, servants, villa.
Let me ask you something. I don't know which is less discreet, the question or the potential answer.
Okay.
But George, what are you doing? I mean, what is your function in the grand scheme of things? I mean, everybody knows, or at least senses, that the world's in trouble. Something could snap. It looks like something's going to pop in the Middle East. The way I view things, maybe you'll ask me to take that out if I'm too close to something, but it looks like Syria and Lebanon. We haven't heard anything about Lebanon. I always look at the place in the world where there's no action right now. Nobody's talking. It's near a hot zone, but nobody's talking about something in Syria, Lebanon, something. The Israelis are jumpy. ISIS has been revealed pretty much to be USIS. Where'd they get all those Toyota Tundra trucks? San Antonio, Texas. That's where they got them.
That's right.
That was not for export. That was a USA only vehicle. And there was a 2-mile long line. It's not that I'm probably exaggerating, but one hell of a long line of Toyota trucks, brand new ones.
450 of them in a row with a Black Hawk over them, escorting them.
Dropping leaflets. You better abandon your tanker trucks because we've got some F-16s coming in hot in about 15 minutes. I mean, is there any point in my even asking you what is going on over there? What is the end game here? What is it?
The end game is endless war. The end game is another conflict in the Middle East. It's an attack. I believe that you're quite correct on Lebanon. Genie Energy with all of our friends, Dick Cheney and the Rothschild.
Pull the thought right out of my brain.
Yeah, and Larry Summers and Jim Woolsey are definitely going to take the Golan Heights, and they're going to definitely go for that oil, which is going to be partly in Syria, partly in Lebanon. And I think they're going to cover it with another war. And David Petraeus won't be far from the planning board.
Petraeus?
The drawing table. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Russia. The Russian component. What is it?
Well, I think Russia and Iran is going to be the flex point there, and then the other one is obviously Korea, but I do believe that there is going to be some kind of take of territory, of breaking off a piece of Iran into a separate emirate or something like that. It's happened before.
The reason I wanted to talk with you is because I liked you, I bought it, and then I saw this popping up, and I thought he's doing something because he's attracting attention there. And a bunch of people request, not a bunch, but 2 or 3, and it seems like more than there really are. 2 or 3 sources were going, we're not sure about this and that. I just want to talk to you and give you an opportunity to say whatever it is you wanted to say. I mean, I don't want to facilitate disinformation, but I'm not a complete idiot. Sometimes a partial idiot, but not a complete one.
Well, I'd be in that boat with you. I think it's important to talk about issues like nuclear containment, plutonium. I mean, these are things that are real. These are real threats. And to bury that under, what Honey Boo Boo is saying, or that Destiny Winner gal, it's so trivial with CNN. And these are the issues of the day that really matter. So I just want a public discussion, a public forum, an open forum with people such as yourself and your audience, which I love the Caravan and Midnight folks, because they're really thinking. They're
Yes,
really
they are.
thinking. They're thinking. And that's all I ask.
I don't understand why we're still playing with this nuclear stuff when it's so impossible to clean up. We got 6,000 cubic meters per year going into just a whip site in New Mexico. And boy, it was on fire. But now nobody talks about it. Nobody talks about the meltdowns at Fukushima. Nobody's talking about the poisoning of the ocean. All those hundreds of thousands, millions of tons now of highly, highly contaminated water. We're just pouring into the Pacific every day. Weird things that used to be sea creatures washed up in Hawaii and up and down the West Coast. It's like, how can you justify playing with something that dangerous when you can't put that genie back in the bottle? You can't.
Yeah.
Are they counting on future technology to be able to make it nice again, to where you can hold the spent stuff in your hand, it won't make it glow purple all over? Or what are they holding out for? Why are we still messing with this stuff?
Yeah. Well, I think there's the promise of the profits are so great. It's diamonds times 1,000. You know, it's gold times 1,000. And anytime you have that gold incentive, you're going to have secret operations, covert operations, trading in this stuff.
So you're telling me it's money again?
That's money again.
Okay. All right. Well, look, can we stay in touch and can we talk again soon?
Sure. I'd love to, John. Thank you very much
Thanks,
for the
George.
opportunity.
I appreciate you agreeing to come on. Thank you very much. George Webb, everybody. That's it for now. This is a real no-kidding cowboy hat. I got it in Montana. I'm not sure where it was made, but for my part, it's a Montana cowboy hat.
You look great.